everyone, and welcome back. We're diving deep today, really deep, into this book, Escaping Female Supremacy, a guide for men in a Gynocratic Society by Conrad Riker. You know, I know a lot of you are interested in this whole red pill thing.
Yeah.
Especially how it all plays out in a marriage.
Yeah.
So this book, it's, well, let's just say it's a pretty intense look at how society maybe, isn't as equal as we like to think.
Right from the start, Riker comes out swinging,
Oh, yeah.
saying men are straight up losing ground in a system, he says, that actually promotes female supremacy.
Wow. A gynocracy, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty bold statement right out of the gate.
It is.
So how does he back that up?
Well, he goes way back.
Okay.
Historically, he talks about feminism,
Okay.
which, obviously started with good intentions, equality, right?
Of course.
But Riker's argument is that somewhere along the line, things shifted.
Yeah, okay.
And now, in his view, it's tipped the scales the other way.
Interesting. So, it's actually putting men at a disadvantage now.
That's what he argues, yeah.
Huh. And what does he think caused that shift?
Well, he points to a bunch of societal changes,
Like what?
like women entering the workforce, in huge numbers.
Right.
And then, obviously, how family structures have totally changed.
Yeah.
So he thinks all of that contributed to this, this power shift, you could say.
Okay, so it's not just like one single event. It's more like a gradual thing.
More like a ripple effect.
A ripple effect. Okay, I like that. But, he doesn't stop there, does he?
Oh, no.
I mean, he goes on to talk about all these institutions.
Yeah, he does.
Like education,
Right.
the media, even the legal system. He says they've all been captured by this ideology.
Yeah, that they're all kind of working together to shape how we see things.
And ultimately disadvantaging men.
According to Riker, yeah.
So give me an example. Like, what kind of stuff is he talking about?
Well, one thing that really stood out was this statistic about college.
Okay.
Women now make up 56% of the college student population.
Wow, that's a big number.
It is.
I mean, does he think that's a problem?
He sees it as a symptom of a system that's failing boys.
Failing boys.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah,
I can see how some people would say that.
definitely.
I mean, thinking long term about male representation in different fields. What happens to those male-dominated industries?
Yeah, right.
I mean, have you noticed those kinds of patterns?
It's definitely something to think about. It's all connected, right? The media, the legal system.
Oh, yeah, he talks about that too, doesn't he?
Yeah, how men are often portrayed. And then especially in family law,
Right.
he sees all that as reinforcing this gynocracy idea.
So it's almost like a self-perpetuating cycle.
Kind of, yeah. Like a feedback loop.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Makes you wonder. Have you ever felt like the system was kind of like working against you? Just because you're a man.
I mean, it's complicated, but it does make you think about how things work,
It really does. And you know what else gets me?
What's that?
When he talks about boys. Growing up in all of this.
Yeah. That's a big part of his whole argument, this idea of the plight of boys in a female-dominated society.
I mean, it's a pretty heavy statement, right?
It is.
So what exactly is he, worried about? What are the specific challenges he sees?
Well, he looks at the education system.
Okay.
Says it's, kind of set up to favor girls, like their learning styles, how they learn best.
Oh.
And he uses, stats to back that up. Stuff like ADHD diagnoses,
Right.
higher rates in boys, dropout rates too.
It's funny, right? Because we always hear about, the problems girls face in STEM and things like that.
Yeah.
But he's saying it's actually the opposite.
He is, in this context at least. But it's not just school, right? He talks about the media too.
Yeah.
And how, men are often shown.
Like all those stereotypes, right?
Yeah, exactly. Incompetent, aggressive,
Yeah.
emotionally closed off.
Yeah. And what does he say that does to boys?
Well, to their self-esteem and how they see what it means to be a man.
They got to have an impact, right?
Huge, probably. You see that stuff enough, you start to think maybe that's just how it is.
And then if there aren't any good examples out there.
Right, like positive male role models.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where the, he calls it a crisis of masculinity comes in.
That's pretty serious stuff.
It is.
So what's the answer? I mean, what does he say men can do? How can we, help boys deal with all this?
Well, he's big on mentorship, having those good role models around.
Fathers, right?
Especially fathers, being involved, showing them, what it means to be a good man.
So it's kind of like going back to basics, those more traditional values.
I guess you could say that. He also talks about, teaching them practical things like financial independence,
Oh, okay.
being self-reliant,
Yeah.
things they'll need. Especially, he says, in case of divorce.
Huh. It's like he's saying, get ready to go it alone. Don't depend on anyone else.
Yeah, there's definitely that thread in there.
Wow. I mean, what about just, thinking for themselves?
Oh, that too. Big time. Critical thinking.
What?
Questioning everything. What you see in the media. Not just accepting what you're told.
So not just the practical skills, but also the mental tools.
Right.
To really analyze stuff.
And
Make your own decisions.
Yeah, exactly. Like he says, be aware, know your rights, protect yourself. Even, with things like prenuptial agreements.
Prenups. That's pretty serious.
It is. But it fits with his whole, be cautious, be prepared kind of thing.
Especially in marriage.
Especially in marriage.
Man, it's a lot, isn't it? I mean, for fathers raising their sons in all of this, it's like the world's telling them one thing, but then Riker's saying something completely different.
It's definitely a different way of looking at things.
It is. And speaking of looking at things differently, he talks about raising sons with this red-pilled awareness, right? Like he actually uses that term, raising red-pilled sons.
Yeah, he does. He has a whole section on that.
So what's he saying? What does red-pilled even mean in this context?
Well, it's like teaching boys to see the world, through this specific lens, like understanding the whole female supremacy dynamic and the biases and how to, protect themselves.
So not just being aware, but being critically aware, question everything.
Right, exactly. And he says fathers need to have honest conversations with their sons about the challenges, what it's like to be a man in this kind of society.
Wow. So not sugarcoating things?
No, more like preparing them, giving them the tools they'll need
To deal with it all.
to deal with it, yeah.
Man, that's a pretty big job for a father.
It is. And he says, fathers are crucial in this, they have to counter all these negative influences.
It's almost like he's talking about a movement, isn't it? Like a whole bunch of fathers all raising their sons this way to, change things.
Yeah, there's that energy to it, definitely.
That's pretty intense stuff.
It is.
But, I think it's good to talk about this stuff, even if it's uncomfortable.
Definitely. And I think Riker's book, even if you don't agree with everything, it makes you think.
For sure. So before we jump into the next part,
Yeah.
what do you think about this raising red-pilled sons thing? Is that the right approach in today's world? I mean,
That's a tough one. It's not a simple yes or no,
yeah, that's fair. Maybe we could dig into that a little more later. But
Yeah.
for now, let's move on to what Riker says about actually fighting back against all of this, the female supremacy thing. Okay, so we've talked a lot about Riker's take on all the challenges that men are facing, and a system he says is biased
Yeah.
against them. But he doesn't just leave us hanging, does he?
No, not at all.
He actually talks about fighting back.
Yeah, he does, actually creating change.
So he's not just complaining about it. He's actually saying, hey, we can do something.
Yeah, he's all about taking control. Men taking control of their lives, not being passive.
Okay, so where do we start? I mean, where does he say men should start with all this?
Awareness, that's his big thing.
Awareness.
Really waking up to what he calls female supremacy.
Right. And seeing how it's affecting them.
Affecting their lives, yeah.
Yeah.
In ways they maybe haven't even thought about.
So it's like seeing all the little things, the subtle things, where maybe the system isn't so fair.
Exactly. And not just accepting it.
Question everything, huh?
Pretty much. What you see in the media, what they teach in school, even just the way things are, societal norms, all that.
So developing that critical eye.
Yeah, and seeing, the power dynamics, how things really work.
Okay, I get that. But what can you actually do
Yeah.
to change those things? Those structures, I mean.
Well, one thing he says is go right at the source. Challenge feminist ideology.
Whoa, okay. That's pretty direct. I mean, how do you even do that?
Lots of ways, I guess. Having debates, writing articles, blog posts, that kind of thing.
Right.
Even just talking to people, friends, family, who maybe have those feminist views.
So making sure the other side gets heard. The male perspective, I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking up. Saying, hey, this isn't fair.
But that can be tough, right?
Yeah.
Going against the grain like that?
It can. He says it's important to find support. People who get it.
Makes sense. You don't want to feel like you're, out there all alone.
Right. So things like men's rights groups, online forums, even just, finding other guys who feel the same way.
Okay, so build that community. But Is it all just talk? I mean, does he have any ideas for, like, real action?
Oh, yeah. He's big on, like, legal and political stuff,
Really? Like what?
getting involved in politics, voting for the right people, and then advocating for changes to laws and policies that, he sees as harmful to men.
So, like, taking that awareness and using it to actually shift things.
Exactly. It's a long game, he says. But, that's how you really create change.
Makes sense. Now, what about, like, the individual? What about just, working on yourself?
He talks about that too. A lot, actually.
Okay, so what's he saying?
Become the best version of yourself. Strong, confident, a leader.
So, like, owning your masculinity.
Exactly. Don't be afraid of it.
Yeah. Interesting.
And then, of course, the practical stuff. Financial independence.
Right. Being able to take care of yourself.
Exactly. That self-reliance thing.
It's like he's saying, don't depend on the system.
Kinda, yeah. Because he doesn't trust it.
Huh. So it's about, like, taking control of your own life, your own destiny.
Exactly. And not being a victim.
Powerful stuff. But I gotta say, some people might hear this and think, whoa, this is a little extreme.
Oh, for sure. He pushes buttons. But, he's speaking to a certain group of guys who feel like no one's listening to them.
And he's given them a way to, make sense of it all and
Yeah.
do something about it.
Exactly.
Well, this has been quite a deep dive into Riker's world. So for our listener, what's the one thing they should take away from all this?
Be aware. Be proactive. Take control. That's Riker's message in a nutshell.
It's a call to action, huh? For men who are, ready to fight for something better.
For themselves, yeah. And for their sons.
And if anyone wants to, explore these ideas more, where can they find Riker's book?
Escaping Female Supremacy. It's on Amazon Kindle. And Google Play Books, too.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Hopefully it's given you all some things to think about.